Hey yo everybody, it's everybody's favorite Shadow of Gaming coming at you with another Fallout 4 video, and in this video I'm going to be talking about a theory I have about the Enclave and the Institute. If you guys don't know who the Enclave are, they are basically, hold on, I have the definition of the Enclave right here. The Enclave is a secretive political, scientific, and militaristic organization that is supposedly descended directly from members of the pre-war United States at the time of the Great War, and it claims to still be the legally sanctioned continuation of the pre-war government. Now, what my theory comprises of is that the Enclave and the Institute had worked together for a short time. As we know, in Fallout 4, there are only a few specific characters who actually mention the Enclave. Paladin Dan's is one of them, and I even did a little research on the Far Harbor DLC because I have not yet played it, and I do not want to spoil it for myself. Apparently, the Children of Adam, basically one of their leaders, or the leader, is basically an ex-Enclave soldier who used to work with the Enclave back in the Capital Wasteland. And according to the map, I've actually found this before. If we go to the map, I'll show you. In this section, in this swamp area, I believe it is right here, or hold on. Right here, I believe, is where the crashed vertibird is, which will actually hold a suit of F04 power armor, and it does not look like a pre-war vertibird. I do believe that that is actually an Enclave vertibird, based off the trajectory of the crashed vertibird's location, because in order to actually get to, what do you call it, Washington, D.C., they would have to be going either in this direction or this direction, or maybe they were coming off the coast in this direction, which, if we follow this path, would actually lead close to MIT, right from there. Yeah, see? So I'm not sure if the trajectory lines up. Maybe they got shot down by somebody. Maybe it was the gunners, considering how they have a few vertibirds in their possession. But that also leads me to another theory that I will talk about another day. Basically, I believe that the Enclave and the Institute had worked together, and basically it's the reason why the entire game takes place at all. Now, major spoilers ahead. You have been warned. At the beginning of the game, after we are awakened from the vault, we step into the wasteland, as such. But it is weird because we cannot step back into our cryopod and go back to sleep, obviously, because then there wouldn't be a game. But basically, that tells us that there was a manual override in the vault, that it was basically overridden manually or remotely from another location. And later on in the game, we actually find out that Sean actually had the access codes to wake us up. Now, the reason why I think the Enclave is involved with the Institute is because of the fact that most of the Institute scientists don't know that much about the pre-war days of the United States, or many of the pre-war locations around the Commonwealth. Most of them don't even know where gorillas came from. So yeah, I don't really think a lot of them know about pre-war America. But the thing is that the Enclave had ties with Vault Tech, and that's why Project Safehouse is even a thing. It's because after the war, the Enclave actually wanted to have a fresh strain of human DNA to actually expose those humans to the FEV virus, which is the forced evolutionary virus. And what that virus ends up doing is it ends up turning people into super mutants. And if you actually do Virgil's quest, which is basically find an experimental serum that he created to turn him back into a human, you can actually find vats of the FEV within the broken down parts of the Institute. Now, this is unique considering the fact that one, the Institute couldn't have developed the FEV, considering the fact that it basically has the exact same effects as the regular FEV. Now, I believe that the Enclave basically gave the Institute the recipe for the FEV after the destruction of the after the Poseidon oil rig destruction, which takes place around, what do you call it? I'm trying to think. What do you call it? I can't think. It takes place around the Poseidon Energy rig. Let me just elaborate. Basically, the rig was an offshore facility that the Enclave used after the Great War so that they could hide away for centuries. Basically, I think members of the Enclave actually fled from the oil rig and actually ended up coming to the Commonwealth, because it's not a coincidence at the fact that we don't get that much mention of the Enclave, yet we can find remnants of their power armor scattered throughout the entire Commonwealth. And a lot of you are probably going to say that that's because of randomly generated power armor at a certain level. Well, basically, according to the Nuka World DLC, there is actually a guaranteed piece of X01 power armor that you can find in the Nuka World DLC, and that is confirmed no matter what level you are when you start the Nuka World DLC. You need to be level 30 to even start the Nuka World DLC, as I've been told. Apparently, Nuka World is also still a part of the Commonwealth, so that rings around the Enclave being in the Commonwealth theory. That is confirmed. And this isn't my own theory about the Enclave having a presence here in the Commonwealth. That actually comes from another YouTuber who is called Violin Puma, or Violin Puma or whatever. He does a lot of great Enclave theory videos, and I'm crossing his theory with my own. Basically, I don't think the Institute had made the FEV virus on their own. They had to have had some help with that. So that's why I think the Enclave were partnered with the Institute for a while. Because maybe some Enclave scientists were with the Institute for a time, so that then the Institute could mass produce the FEV virus and then send it into the Commonwealth, which is why there is a huge number of super mutant presences throughout the Commonwealth, which I might note are actually very larger than there have been in any other Fallout game. But anyway, I'm just rambling on at this point. Getting back to the original topic about the Vault-Tec connection. Sorry, I'm still getting over this cold, guys, so I might not be 100%, and my train of thought might not be that good. But anyway, Sean has the access codes to actually wake us up at the beginning of the game. He gets the Vault-Tec access codes. Now, what do you call it? If you go to the Vault-Tec regional facility in Fallout 4, there are actually no synths there, so Sean wouldn't have been able to send his synths to the Vault-Tec regional HQ to procure the access codes, because there is no terminal there that even gives us the suggestion to get the access codes from at all. So there's no way he could have been able to get them from the Vault-Tec regional HQ. I believe that the Enclave, might have owed Sean for doing them a favor by mass producing the FEV virus, because even Virgil doesn't know why they're mass producing the FEV virus, and yet for some reason Sean keeps telling Virgil to mass produce it and keep going on with the experiments for some unknown reason. What I think is that Sean was being manipulated by the Enclave at that time, but then what do you call it? Sean finally got the upper hand and maybe had his synths wipe out the Enclave scientists or something like that. Or maybe this Enclave soldiers who had gone to the Institute were actually the first generation super mutants. You never know. Also, the fact of the matter is Sean must have, before he betrayed the Enclave scientists or soldiers, he must have gotten the access codes for all the Vault-Tec regional vaults within the Commonwealth, and that is how he must have that's how he must have gotten the codes in his possession. I think the Enclave gave Sean the codes in order to wake us up. Now, you're probably thinking about the fact is, but why would the Enclave, need the Institute? Isn't the Enclave, self-sufficient and stuff like that? Well, no, actually. Remnants of the Enclave had a hard time communicating with each other, so they wouldn't know what to do in these situations. Remnants of the Enclave within the Commonwealth had nowhere else to turn, they had no way of communicating with each other, so they turned to the Institute for help. Not to mention the fact that also members of the Institute are actually pre-war ancestors of pre-war scientists who were actually stationed at MIT. And basically, the story behind the Institute, their entire lore is scientists who were at MIT at the time of the Great War. They actually decided to dig down and create the Institute. So basically, you know, pre-war Americans, you know, their descendants, the Institute and the Enclave would get along very well, you know, and they would probably trust one another. Now, the reason why I think we don't see a major mention of the Enclave in Fallout 4 is mainly because of the fact that the Brotherhood have kind of wiped them all out from memory because of the Broken Steel DLC for Fallout 3. A lot of them end up getting wiped out, but also, according to the theory by that other YouTuber who I mentioned a while ago, he says that there are actually more Enclave bases scattered throughout America. Most of Chicago, San Francisco, there are some even located in the Commonwealth, which he thinks are actually have been abandoned for decades, even before Fallout 3, which would technically make sense because at the time of the Poseidon oil rig being destroyed, that was about 30 to 40 years before the events of Fallout 3. So that would make sense chronologically. Members of the Enclave station in the Commonwealth would probably be scared and, like I said earlier, turn to the Institute for help. Now, I know, guys, this theory might not make a whole lot of sense to you guys. If you guys haven't played any of the other Fallout games, or, you know, dive through the lore, it might not make that much sense to you. But, you know, this is just my little theory. It might not have been said in the best way possible. I've only gotten about 3 hours of sleep last night, so I'm very tired. This cold is just killing me right now, guys. But, you know, I thought I would make the video while the theory is still in my head, and it's fresh in memory. So, yeah, I just thought I'd put this theory out there. Maybe some other YouTuber will, you know, expand upon it, you know, maybe make it bigger, maybe dive deep into this theory of mine and maybe, you know, expand upon it. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe I figured something out that a lot of other YouTubers may not have. Maybe there are theories out there already like this, but I just don't know about it. So yeah, I've been everybody's favorite Shadow of Gaming, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.